Hey friends, welcome to the Johnson City Living Podcast, where we learn about the people, places, events, and flavors that make Johnson City just a lovely place to live. I'm your host, Colin Johnson, with the Colin and Carly Group and Keller Williams Realty. If you're interested in buying or selling a home in the area, or if you're looking at investing in a rental property, give us a call at 423-930-8003, and we will look forward to helping you. Now, let's get to today's episode.
It is a beautiful July day here in Johnson City, Tennessee, one of the best cities in the whole daggone world, and I'm here with my new friend, Ty Stewart. How are you doing, Ty?
I'm doing great. Full of coffee.
Full of coffee. That's right, because you own Caroline's Coffee Companies.
Yes, I do.
Does Caroline know that?
She does,
Okay.
Actually. Caroline is actually my 1-year-old.
Oh, is she sweet right now?
She is very sweet. She runs all over the house.
So, Sweet Caroline's Coffee Company. That's awesome. All right. Well, we're going to learn about that in a minute, but Johnson City Living Podcast, first question you get, what do you love most about Johnson City?
The mountains.
The mountains.
Yeah, so I grew up in Texas. There's no mountains.
There's some little bumps.
Yeah, they're
It's like where the interstate goes up over another interstate, you get a little hill there.
Yeah, we had what we thought was a mountain where I grew up, and we used to get on top of that and look out, and we're like, yeah, it's so good. No, that's a hill.
I got you. It's a hill.
So,
do you have any, what's the elevation of the hill? Like 100 feet?
Weirdly enough, the elevation of the hill is higher than the elevation of here.
Really?
Yeah, since we're kind of in that valley, sort of.
Yeah.
So it's still higher than what it is here. It's just equivalent to the ground. It's not high.
Gotcha.
I don't know.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Like the whole thing of Texas is raised up.
Yeah.
I love it. So you grew up in Texas and you wanted to be a coffee aficionado, barista guru from birth.
Yeah.
Tell us the Ty Stewart origin story.
So I really didn't get into coffee probably until I was in college.
Yeah. Actually, stay up late and take tests or
basically. We had a little coffee shop there that I ended up getting really close with the owners. And so I was like, man, it'd be cool to start a coffee shop, but kind of threw that out the window when I, got a job.
What was your first job?
So I started shooting commercials in Knoxville.
Oh, nice.
Before that in college, it was social media stuff. But
So coming from Texas, you went to the real UT.
I'm not a UT fan. I'm not a Texas fan. Yeah. So I'll say whatever you want. I don't really care. I'm a Texas Tech fan. So
I gotcha. Okay.
I don't like Texas.
I'm just giving you a hard time. Although I did see something about Texas joining the SEC, and there's only room for one UT, and Tennessee gets it. So they're going to have to come up with something else.
I think they labeled Texas as TEX instead of UT.
Big Tex.
Yeah. Makes sense though. They got there first. So
exactly. We don't start the SEC. Come on.
I might get hate for that.
That's all right. So you graduated and then you started doing commercials.
Yeah. So I was
and
shooting.
That's a straight line into coffee.
Yeah. Well, it's a straight line into coffee considering I drove by K-Brew about every single day in Knoxville to get coffee. They were the ones that kind of sparked my full interest into specialty coffee. They showed me that specifically milk makes a massive difference in the coffee you're drinking.
1,000%.
So I didn't really think that through. I was like, oh yeah, just put milk in it, whole milk, great. But the quality of where you're getting it from, the cows that come from, all that kind of stuff really matters in the final product.
Mm-hmm.
And so they kind of more sparked my interest into the specialty part of that.
That's cool.
Along with my brother being in Bentonville, Arkansas, which is where I get my coffee from. Place called Onyx Coffee Labs. We visited there probably in 2018, 2019.
Is that a subsidiary of Walmart since that's the world headquarters?
So it is not a part of Walmart. Now, I think the placement was intended to be close to Walmart because you
got distribution like crazy coming out of it.
Yeah, your target market's pretty good in that city.
So Onyx Coffee.
Yeah, so they're Onyx Coffee Lab. I'm not really sure exactly when they started. I know it was pretty close to that time though, just because when we went first time, they were still in a little small kind of cafe.
Mm-hmm.
Since then, they've pushed basically the entire coffee world to expand what they know about coffee. They'll travel literally all over the world to find the best coffee producers in any country and then buy their coffee, make sure that the farmers are taken care of, make sure everyone's taken care of in that way. And then bring it back.
Fair trade kind of.
Yeah, so they're actually very open on what they charge for their coffee. So like they'll at the very bottom for every single bag, they show what per pound it costs them or kilogram, I think maybe. But per pound, what it cost them to get it over, what shipping cost was, transportation, roasting, like all of that stuff. They break it down completely per pound on what they charge for it. So you can see their cost.
That's cool.
Which is really awesome because then it shows you what the farmers were paid.
Right.
When most of those places, they get paid, cents.
Pennies on the dollar.
Yeah, like nothing. So excited to work with them. They're probably, if not one of the best roasters in the nation. They just figured out they were doing a roastery in Europe to wholesale in Europe.
That's cool.
So kind of a big deal to, take one company, move it there too. So it's really cool. But visited there, loved that. It was a really awesome experience. Showed me kind of what other stuff is out there with coffee. Then I had a child and wanted an espresso machine. So we got an espresso machine before my daughter was born. And my family lives in the same neighborhood as me. So brother-in-law's next door, sister-in-law's next door, mother-in-law's up the street. They love coffee. So I was constantly making coffee for my family all around me.
Gotcha.
So
and you're like,
2,
I'm going to
3,
start
4,
charging
5
you
cups.
bozos.
Right? I mean, that's kind of what I was thinking. Yeah. Brother-in-law made a joke one day, and we knew her name, my daughter, Caroline. And he was like, I'm going over to Sweet Caroline's Cafe.
Oh.
And so he kept saying that over and over again every time he's coming to get coffee. And I was like, yeah, that's funny. And then I was like, that's a good idea.
That's a good idea.
That's a good idea. So that was kind of where the whole origin kind of came from of the Sweet Caroline's.
That's
coffee.
awesome.
So,
and now every time you pull up, you think, well, you probably think about your daughter all the time, but
yeah,
it's special. And one day she'll realize that, hey, that's me on that.
I usually tell people she's in a lot of debt, not me.
I like that.
Yeah. So like, it doesn't make it feel like it's mine.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. She can declare bankruptcy. She'll be all right.
Yeah.
No big deal. No big deal. For us novices out there, you said you bought an espresso machine. You probably did a little research, I'm assuming, maybe, or maybe you didn't. I don't know. Maybe just like for a good home espresso machine, what are you thinking?
I usually tell people to start with Breville.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of people just think that's a, kitchen home name, like, and their base machines, like the Breville Bambino is actually what we bought. We got it on sale for like $300, usually like $350, $400. So we got it on sale for $300 and we're like, can't beat it. And I would recommend that machine. I mean, I was making 3 or 4 coffees like all the time on that machine.
Yeah.
And so we used that for a year and a half probably, or close to it. Put it through the ringer and it was great. I think they have an upgraded version where you have a grinder in it. I would think it's the Breville Barista Express maybe. I would recommend, especially when they're on sale for like $560 sometimes, which it's usually like $700.
Right.
So if you can get that on sale, there's a decent grinder, decent machine, all built into one.
You're good to go.
Yeah.
Of course, if one part goes down, then the whole thing.
Yeah. I have heard Breville's pretty good about their customer service part of it though. So that is also another reason why I recommend them, just because they care about what they're putting out.
Gotcha.
So
yeah, that's cool. Yeah, I think I have a couple of friends who have a Phillips fancy deal, and I think it even does the milk internally, and especially if 8 temperatures and all that stuff. And they just,
I've heard. I don't
know that I've got 1,500 to put into a coffee machine.
So the Phillips, I think there's a Phillips Super Automatic that does that, to where you can put the beans on top of it. You can push a button, it'll grind it for you. Put it out, and I mean, like if you're in a hurry, that's awesome.
Right.
Actually recommended that to my mother-in-law, so I didn't have to make her coffee at the trailer every day.
There you go. Nice.
She hasn't done it yet, but we'll see.
So and then you can be like me. I have a Keurig.
Yeah.
And then but it has that little thing where it frosts milk for me. And so I just make a little latte. And it works out well. It's not the same as what I'm holding. Ty brought me just a delicious latte. So thank you very much. Yeah. That's fantastic.
Of course.
Mitch, did you get coffee? What are you drinking? Mitch has got black coffee. How is it? Is it good? Mitch gives it 2 thumbs up. So he's going to grow an extra thumb just to give it 3 thumbs up. No, this is great.
Coffee does to you.
It's so good. Yeah, it's so good. So, where can people find? You don't have a store?
So it is a trailer. A lot of people ask, so I'll address it. Aero Build out of Nashville.
Yeah.
They custom build trailers. I would 100% recommend that company. They were incredible through the whole process. Super nice people.
I've seen it. I've driven by. I was going to stop, but the line was too long, which is a good thing for you. There were like literally 7 people in line or something. I was like, yeah, I don't have 10 minutes to wait in line.
No, I'm the only one that works in there. So if there was like 5 or 6 people,
it could have been a wait. 20 minutes.
Yeah. It's definitely, since I'm the only one in there, there is sometimes when there's a line that it takes me a little bit, but I'm also in a small space.
Right.
So like there's only so much I can do in that little space. But so they built the trailer, custom built trailer. They fit it with the coffee stuff I would need, all the electricity, plumbing, and all that stuff. Incredible people, incredible trailer.
I think it's cool. Food trucks, I mean, are such a, it's, when I was your age, they wasn't even a thing, right?
Yeah.
I mean, people would laugh at you if you tried to open a food truck. Now, like, it's just, they're everywhere, and the products coming out of them are unbelievable.
When I first got into it, there's a lot of incredible people doing it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's funny to meet those people, then try their stuff and be like, this is some of the best stuff I've had in the area.
Yeah.
But I mean, if you think about it, like a lot of these people are sitting at home making this stuff. They want to get it to the public.
Right.
But they can't afford an entire kitchen and building because it's extremely expensive.
Yeah.
So quickest way to get it to the people is a trailer or a truck or something like that.
Yeah.
So a lot of these people make incredible food.
It's amazing.
And I love it. It's been fun to meet the people that are doing it too.
Now, do you have a space where you're parking the trailer a lot, or do you just go all over the place?
So at first we were moving around, going event to event, which was nice. If I was single and didn't have a child, it probably would have been a lot easier to keep up with that. But trying to go to multiple places and sit in one spot, it took a lot of time.
Sure.
So I know Preston over at Breaker Barber, and really good friends with him, go to church with him, and he called me after we posted that we were looking for a permanent spot or somewhat permanent spot, and he was like, let's talk.
Let's go.
So I'm currently parked there pretty permanently.
Yeah.
There's a few events that I've already promised myself to.
Yeah.
But for the most part, I have electricity, I have water, and it's a really nice place to be able to park on a corner to get exposure.
Yeah. That's a good spot. And Cookie Crate's right there too, right?
Cookie Crate closed down.
Oh, yeah. Well, so I guess I shouldn't be too upset about it. I only went there twice. So.
I feel like I have that reaction happens a lot.
Yeah, everybody's like, oh, man.
And they're like, oh, I guess I haven't been in like a year.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, well.
Well, if you're listening, Cookie Crate people, we miss you. And you made an unbelievable cookies. And sorry we didn't come see you more often.
Yeah, they sold it to a lady in Elizabethton. But I still see the owner that owns it because they own Bear Brothers across the street. So they come by quite often.
Gotcha. Buddy of mine. Oh, he's not there anymore. Never mind. Seth used to work at Bear Brothers. Well, so tell me about your wife. What does she do? She's part of it too?
She doesn't really. She takes care of her daughter. That is what I'm about to say. She doesn't do anything. I almost got myself in a lot of trouble.
Don't ever say that.
She does a lot.
She works twice as hard as you do, is what I heard you say. So Mitchell cut all that out. He'll rework it for you. What's her name?
Abigail.
Abigail.
Yeah.
So Caroline and Abigail. And so what does life in Johnson City look for you guys when you're not making coffee? What are you all doing in Johnson City? What do you love to do here?
Shoot, right now working. No, but we honestly like so we live in technically like Jonesboro area.
Okay.
And we have, especially coming from Texas, not really having many downtown places. We had a few, but having like downtown Johnson City, downtown Jonesboro, just to get out and walk around. I think we've enjoyed that a lot more than I think we even thought we would, and especially when we looked at the area to move to. There's restaurants down there to go to. We love Main Street. I'd go in there and get pizza all the time.
Oh, it's so good.
Yes.
And they're big. I mean, the pieces almost cover your plate. You can't even see a plate underneath it.
Yeah, I definitely crave that way too much.
They're good. Yeah.
But no, I mean, we enjoy that aspect of it. Like, I mean, even in Jonesboro, I mean, obviously it's close by. So like even in Jonesboro, like driving through downtown Jonesboro, there's sometimes I'll literally just go downtown Jones, it's just drive through. And
It's
just,
beautiful.
Yeah, it's just
They're the same thing. Like, I could go 11E, or I could just hang a little left and go down the main drag, and it's just beautiful.
Yeah, so we've enjoyed that part of it, just having that downtown areas to go to, just exploring new stuff too. I mean, obviously we're fairly new, been here for 3-4 years now. Still getting around to everything that there is to see here. I'm a NASCAR fan, so Bristol's close by, so the Bristol Speedway is an attraction for me.
Night race is coming up in August.
I'm very excited about that.
Yeah. Who's your favorite racer?
So right now, since Josh Berry got moved up, I'm a Josh Berry fan. Used to be Chase Elliott, which sounds cliche, but I followed Josh when he was in the Xfinity pretty hardcore, then saw he was getting moved up the Cup, and I got pretty excited about it. So
that's cool.
Yeah, I'm pretty excited for where he's going, what he's doing. So I definitely enjoy that part of it.
That's awesome. Does your wife enjoy NASCAR as well?
She does now. She was very
yes. You go watch it. I enjoy that.
She was very skeptical about it at first. Went to her first race at Bristol, and then she really, once we got into it more, she really liked it. I mean, we went to North Wilkesboro, watched a race there. We've been, she's Martinsville. We've traveled multiple places.
Oh, that's fun.
To go watch the races. And after she started understanding it more, she got into it more.
Yeah.
Now I'm just trying to get my daughter into it, just like get her started early.
Yeah.
And so I got her looking at TV when she sees cars and she goes boom, 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 boom. She gets really excited.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that's a lot of fun.
We're big Bristol Motor Speedway fans. We've got a lot of friends who work there, and it's an awesome event space. And so we love those guys and gals up there. They do a great job. It's cool that it's right in our backyard.
Mm-hmm.
Jerry Caldwell, who is the general manager, was on the podcast of probably a year ago, maybe. Anyway, it's like the 7th biggest event center in the country.
I believe.
Isn't that crazy? I was like, that's crazy. In Little Bristol, Tennessee, just up the road. Awesome.
They hold quite a bit of stuff there too. So
he said there's something happening 325 days out of the year at the
that's
track.
Crazy.
I'm like, you guys don't ever get a break.
I couldn't keep up with that.
Isn't that crazy? Yeah, it's really cool. So it's a big, not just race stuff. There's lots of other stuff going on too. They're huge givers of their facility.
Mm-hmm.
Well, let's talk about coffee a little bit. You brought me a lovely vanilla latte.
Yeah.
Thank you. What is your favorite coffee? Like, if you're like, I only get to drink one coffee for the rest of my life, is it going to just be straight black, or is it going to be something girly like I'm drinking? This is my favorite.
I usually, most of the time in the morning, I start with like 8 or 9 shots. That's not me just drinking them. That's dialing in, making sure it's
sure.
But my go-to is probably like either like a cortado, so like a 1-to-1 ratio of steam to milk and espresso, or like an 8-ounce latte cappuccino. The 8-ounce part of it, you get a little bit more milk, but you still get a lot of the espresso flavor in it.
Yes, I will say that. Is that what I've got here? No, this is a little more.
So it's a 12.
12.
Yeah.
So I was going to say.
I gave you 12 just so you could taste it a little bit better, because if I gave you 16 of that, it just kind of.
Yeah. No, I've actually started downsizing. I used to get a large when I go places, but I am downsizing to a smaller because you do get a better flavor out of it.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's kind of why I like the 8-ounce. You can throw different types of coffee into it. So at the trailer, I have my regular, which is a Monarch, kind of a more traditional blend. And then I have one called Geometry from Onyx that is a little bit of a lighter roast. You have, some berry flavors, honey, and like stuff like that coming through. So in an 8-ounce cup, if you put that in a 12-ounce, you start losing it. 16, it's completely gone.
Right.
8-ounce, you still get the flavor of it. So you can throw all different types of coffee in an 8-ounce, or even like a cortado, and still get the milk part of it, but have the flavor of the coffee coming.
Yeah. If you're watching on YouTube right now, this guy's really excited about coffee. I enjoy it.
Yeah.
I like watching him light up and talking about it. Well, this is so yeah, it's super cool. So cortado is your favorite, or maybe a cappuccino,
a little bigger sometimes,
latte.
Yeah.
Tell me the difference between a latte and a cappuccino.
So traditionally wise, it's size. With also the foam. Now, a lot of American kind of culture, the way that I do it is the way that I steam the milk. So it's either more foam or less foam.
Yep.
So you're kind of dictating how much air you put into the milk.
I was going to say that. Like, I feel like a cappuccino's got bigger bubbles.
Yep.
And it's more smooth on a latte. It's more of a creamy foam as opposed to kind of a bigger.
Yeah. So the I think, I don't know, like the technical terms, like 10% foam on like a cappuccino or 20% or something like that, and like 5% foam on a latte, and then flat white's like none. So it's like just almost straight milk.
That's just, coffee with steam.
Yeah, steamed milk.
Hot milk. Hot milk and coffee is a flat white.
Yeah.
See, I didn't know that. Look at me learning stuff.
I will say, a lot of people don't though.
Oh, of course.
And and that's like part of that kind of teaching aspect of starting something like that too. So
what's the most interesting coffee you guys make in the trailer?
Right now, a pour over from Uganda.
Okay.
Yeah, so
that sounds pretty cool.
Yeah, so like the tasting notes on that specific coffee is like bubblegum, brown sugar, milk chocolate, and I don't know, something else. First time I grinded it through my grinder, I was like, that is a strange smell. I was like, it smells good, but it's weird. And the many times I make pour overs with it, you just never know what you're going to get with coffee, especially like when it's something like that.
Yeah.
And it's really good. It is a weird coffee.
Yeah.
But it's
and
fun.
So for the listeners, pour over, it's like a filter in a Chemex. Is that right?
Yeah. So I do a V60, which is basically kind of like a Chemex kind of shape. So it's basically just coarse grounded coffee. Put into a filter, and then I use a gooseneck kettle to pour over in specific
slowly
patterns.
And there's a pattern you do it.
Specific weight that goes into it, specific time that needs to drip out. So it's definitely...
Who came up with that? Like they're just like, this coffee's not great. Let me wait a little longer on the pour.
Yeah.
Now it's getting better. I don't know. It's crazy, isn't it?
Yeah. The scientific part of it, a guy that actually works for Onyx has a YouTube channel. His name's Lance Hedrick. If you're a science nerd, look into it. But he just, all that stuff he just goes into. So there's like a bloom, which is getting the gases out of the coffee when you pour into it. And then there's different techniques of pouring, and I have no idea who sat there.
I remember when you said that, the bloom part of it was in my brain when like we do French press. So you'd see the bloom and then you push it down and
it
was,
a little bit of that breaking of the crust on top and all that comes to the top. Yeah. So I don't know who sat down the first time and ever thought, but I mean, if you think back to it, like who in the world thought to take this cherry, take the seed out of it and put it through something hot and then go through that whole process?
Right.
Like that was what I was
They're probably eating it and be like, oh, this is terrible. And then they're like, but Larry left his sitting out in the sun and tastes a little better. And then it fell into his cup and it was hot water. I don't know.
Yeah. It's like the whole process of that, which like that's one of those things, like, especially when we start doing it, like seeing God's creation of that too. I think goes a lot into it. It's like, this was a cherry they found on a tree and they figured out the seeds inside of it could ultimately end up in a cup of something that tastes good. And it's like, what a creation and process of people to get to that final product.
Yes. I think it's super cool. And let's see, I was reading yesterday, I'm trying to find it, but it was basically, and out of the ground the Lord, this is Genesis 2:9, out of the ground the Lord made to spring up every tree that is pleasant to the sight and good for food. The tree of life was in the midst of the garden. But anyway, I was like, everything, at that point was good for us. And so I think it's really cool. And here you go. And the gold that is in the land of good, Bedlam, and Onyx stone are there. So Onyx, there you go, right there.
That might have been where they...
You never know. I don't know.
Ask them that someday on where they
Where'd
pulled
you
the
pull
name
your
from.
name from? Yeah. The Onyx stone. I don't know.
Yeah.
So let's say that people want to come see you, get a cup of coffee. How are you going to take them through the process? Like, because it sounds like you want to educate people and not just slap a cup of coffee in their hand.
Yeah. So I think it kind of depends on the customer.
Okay.
There are customers that walk up that, go to Starbucks every single day.
Yep.
That I have specific drinks that I have on my menu that cater to someone that likes something really sweet or someone that likes something a little stronger.
Right.
And so most of the time I try to figure out, I usually start by asking them, what they usually drink. So like, what's your go-to order when you go to places? And then from there I can kind of walk through just some steps eliminating specific things in my menu.
Gotcha.
Now, depending on how interested they are when we start talking about that stuff, depends on what I say next and what I talk about
Gotcha.
next. So a lot of it is, catering to, obviously I'm sitting there making a cup of coffee. I'm in the trailer, I'm on the other side of the trailer, so I can't really see them, but trying to make that conversation, one, to kind of not make it feel as long as I'm making it, but also like to try to educate on what I'm specifically doing and the reason that I'm there doing
Gotcha.
it.
Yeah.
Which is always really fun. Like it's really cool, especially when you give someone a sweet drink and they're, they don't really care what the quality of coffee is for the most part. But seeing their reaction to a good cup of coffee with sweet stuff in it, but the quality of coffee is better, the milk's better, like the syrups that I'm putting in, the chocolate I'm putting in is purposed on what it is. I weigh out everything in grams. So I have pourers that I pour into on a scale every single time I do a drink.
So every time it's going to be the same.
For the most part. There's sometimes I'm like a gram off, but a gram's not going to make that big of a difference. Right. So the consistency of that is trying to be there, but also like the intentionality. So if I, some drinks I do 20 grams, on some drinks I do 15. On specific syrups I do 15 because they are sweeter than others, or the character of it comes through more. And so trying to explain that in the final cup, but also them tasting it and seeing that. Like I've had multiple people come up to me and like, hey, my parents are super picky on coffee and they love your coffee.
Yeah.
Like they are going to come, they won't drink from anywhere else around here, but like they literally drink your coffee and they're like, this guy knows what he's doing. And I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing, but
I'm getting the hang of it after 4,000 cups of coffee.
It's like, I'm still learning, but no, it's a cool compliment because, and a lot of the people that go to Starbucks every single day will come back and they'll say the same thing, or like they'll say, wow, you didn't put as much sweetener in it, but I liked it. I'm good with it. And so some of those people will even start kind of backing off on what I'm putting in there and tell them like, hey, I'm going to start, pulling back on some stuff.
Yeah.
Try it out and see what you think.
Yeah, and you can say, I want a half pump or just one pump, not 3 or 8, like some of them. Yeah. It's funny how, everybody's got a little different flavor they like, and you can accommodate that. So that's kind of cool.
It is fun, and that's a part of it that I really enjoy of one, getting to know the people that I'm serving, but also like walking through that process of like, all right, let's get down to what you want, and let's make sure what I'm putting in your hand is something that you're going to enjoy, and if not, tell me why.
Yeah.
Like let's, open communication on why you didn't like that. Not just here's your cup of coffee.
Right.
See you later. Hope it's right next time or something.
Yeah. If you don't like it, you may make them another one.
Yeah. Yeah.
I can tell you've got your servant's heart kind of thing. You want to get to know the people too. And so that's the best part about it, probably.
Yeah. I've enjoyed a lot of that. The one thing I will say about the trailer part of it is a little harder to have that. It's not.
Do you not have like a window people can see you, or no?
So like most of the time I'm sitting in there if like I don't have anyone. So like
Gotcha.
I'm not gonna stand up for that long. That's just a long time to stand up from the trailer. But I'll sit in there. So
if you drive by and you don't see anybody in there, you're in there.
Yeah, I'm probably in there. I also might be in the barber shop.
Gotcha.
Because there are times to where I'm sitting there and just, it's that time of day where I just don't have anyone pulling up, and I get stuck in that trailer and very confined.
What are your hours in the trailer?
7:30 to 2.
Okay.
So and the main part of that is my wife does help me sometimes, but most of the time I'm doing all of it myself. So gathering any supplies I need, ordering stuff, phone calls, anything like that, I have to do after that. Plus it takes me an hour and a half to clean up. So trying to balance that plus about an hour of setup. So I'm there for almost the entire day. And
6:30 to 4 probably.
Yeah. Most of the time I try to get there around 6:30 or so.
Yeah.
And then I'm usually not home. Some days it's lucky you get home at like 3:30 or 4, but other days when I have to run errands, go get milk, do a bunch of other stuff like that, then it takes longer.
Yeah. How and you said you've been open now how long?
So we basically opened at the end of February or beginning of February, kind of end of January. In January was more trials. But beginning of February, I'd probably say we started.
That's awesome.
So
would you sales kind of where you think they would have been, or you feel like they're a little lower than where you need to be, or?
I think I set my expectations really high.
Yeah. We're gonna make $100,000 a month off coffee.
Yeah. Well, I didn't say that high, but I wish I said that high. No, I did set it pretty high, and I think a lot of that came to like me just not knowing specifically the food truck business part of that.
Okay.
I think I don't think I know no shops do specifically better, just because you have that space to come and sit down and do all that stuff. So I was setting myself up for under what a shop would do, but I still think I was over what a trailer would do.
Gotcha.
I think those trailers, especially when you're doing events all the time, taking that stuff, do really, really, really well. When you're trying to sit in one spot, sometimes you're more consistent, but you're relying on those people to keep coming back.
Right. And I'll say, I don't know, maybe you'll do better in the fall where it's a little cooler.
Yeah.
It's hotter time, people maybe.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts about iced coffee?
So I serve iced coffee. I will not serve frozen coffee. So if you're listening and like frozen coffee,
Don't show up.
No, I'm just kidding. I actually have people that want frozen coffee that get iced coffee that are like, yeah, this is what I was wanting. You're good.
Oh,
And so like, have no issue with that, but I will never have a blender. I'll say that right now. It won't happen. Unless something comes out says it's great, but it won't happen.
yeah. It's more like ice cream. You're like,
But
no, not good.
yeah, so with iced coffee specifically too, flavor comes through almost a lot more in iced coffee. There's something we've noticed making stuff.
Interesting. I've tried it. I'm kind of like, my wife loves iced coffee. Carly, I know you like it. I'm just kind of like, it's meant to be hot, you know?
It depends on what it is. I sweet drinks most of the time. If it's like a more sweet drink, I almost like that more ice than I do hot.
I may try. Yeah, I may give it another go. I'll come see you and we can try
That's
it.
perfect. I'll at least make you something that you can drink.
Yeah.
You won't walk away not drinking it.
One of my friends told me that tea is not meant to be cold. He's from Ireland.
I can see. Yeah. I mean,
And I like tea both ways, hot and cold.
Yeah.
But yeah. And what are you currently working on in your business, or something exciting about it that you're like, oh, I need to share this with the world across the podcast network?
I don't know if there's anything specifically right now. We for a while we were looking at a building, trying to see if we could start a brick and mortar. I got very wrapped up in that on trying to push that. Probably more on my side. Obviously that would be a goal in the future. But I think I tried to push it. I think I needed to take a step back and realize that I need to focus on what I'm doing now and trying to reach that outreach of building the business where I'm at the moment. I don't know if there's anything too crazy coming up. We have a really good relationship with Breaker Barber, which I enjoyed those guys a ton. Like they're awesome people, and just great to be around. So I kind of like where we're at the moment. Obviously trying to reach more people, it would be ideal. And we're still kind of working on specifically how to do that. We are about to get some hats done, and these shirts, we made like 3 of them. Well, not one with a stain on it, but it's part of being a barista. But we've been working on it for a while, trying to figure out who exactly to use. Found somebody. We're getting hats made and stuff like that. So start pre-orders on those. Get some hats out there. Kind of just give people something to
Can you
wear
buy
around.
bags coffee through you guys too, or?
You can. So I don't carry them all the time, mainly because with the specialty coffee that I serve and that I sell, a lot of people that are buying that, I'm the same way, but they want it freshly roasted. So I don't like keeping a ton of bags on me at a time, because then I end up selling them after, way after they're supposed to be sold. Now, a lot of people don't care about that. I've just found, like, especially with single origin and stuff. But I do usually have a couple bags on me at the trailer. So if you're in the area, you want to try some Onyx, you can come to the trailer, try Onyx, or you can buy a bag from me. I don't really care either way.
As long as you're coming to the trailer.
Yeah, try some Onyx.
Just come to the trailer.
Yeah.
Come say hi.
Yeah. I think a bigger part of it too is just trying that specialty coffee. Like getting that in your hand is just a good goal of mine. And I know other coffee places in the area that are opening up. That is our goal. Like, we want to get away from the bigger, just throwing out their franchises and get more into the specialty coffee family-owned businesses.
Yeah. What's your favorite origin of coffee? Like, if you had to pick one country.
So I've been kind of running through.
I know Greenville, Tennessee's big on coffee like production, but we'll rule them out since they're local.
I've actually been like pushing myself a little bit farther and trying different places. So like most of the blends are Ethiopia, Colombia. It's kind of, they're always
Those are
usually
kind of
pretty
your
good
go-tos.
staples.
Yeah.
One at my house right now. I have a natural anaerobic Colombia aged in rum oak barrels.
Oh,
So I mean, like it's just honestly, I couldn't nail one down because I'm trying to push myself farther into different origins and different places to see what I like best.
mm-hmm.
And I don't drink that much coffee outside of my trailer because I drink so much coffee inside my
Inside the
trailer, and I'm
trailer?
there all the time.
That's funny.
So I have like one bag at home that I keep trying to work through, and so every single time I would have told you Guatemala. Guatemala is really good dark chocolate notes, and I love some dark chocolate. So Guatemala is usually kind of like a good go-to for me.
I've actually been to a coffee plantation in Guatemala.
Really?
And watched them. Yeah, we picked some coffee and watched yeah, it was really cool.
Your Guatemala experience is way better than my Guatemala.
I'm just kidding. It was crazy. We walked up this mountain and literally you could dig a hole in the ground and steam would start coming out because it was a volcanic mountain. It was the craziest thing I've ever seen.
That's crazy.
It was wild and super cool. But, and it rained ash on us a little bit. Like it was just, which is like grape nuts kind of stuff. It was weird. But super cool. Yeah. Okay. So Guatemala maybe and
Yeah.
some other spots.
Yeah. That is, I want to go visit some. My goal would obviously be to go visit some actual farms and see that stuff taking place. I think
They should get Onyx to take you with them.
I know. That's kind of what I keep thinking.
I mean, if you're selling all their coffee, they should do that. Onyx, if you're listening, you should take Ty on your next trip with you to source some coffee.
I think I'm a little person in their big person thing.
How are you learning how to make all these awesome coffees?
Oh,
We're watching a lot of YouTube
I knew
videos.
you're about to ask that question. No, so yeah, a lot of the stuff I do is through YouTube. I got even my job before when I shot commercials, YouTube. I learned everything that I've learned off of YouTube videos and then trial and error. Now, coffee was a little bit easier, obviously, than video and photography and all that stuff. But luckily, there are people on YouTube nowadays that spend so much time trying to educate the at-home user
Right.
about coffee that it was really easy to get to a point to where I understood specifically how to do everything.
Yeah.
And there's ways to tell if you're doing it right without having someone that knows exactly what they're doing over your shoulder.
Gotcha.
So that's a really big part of it. Now, recently I've connected with some people in town that are doing especially coffee and stuff like that I've done in the past. And so like confirmation from them has helped me as well.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, most of it's just, hey, is that a good cup of coffee? Yeah, it's a good cup of coffee. Cool.
Cool. Let's see. All right. So does Onyx roast it or do they supply you with unroasted beans?
So they roast it. I wish I'd roast. That'd be cool. But
So they roast it. So let's say, how quickly do you get it? Like, I'm just wondering about the timeline from bean to mouth.
Yeah. So they usually 3 days is usually shipping time, and they usually on most coffees roast it the day before they ship it out.
Nice.
So the stuff I'm serving in my trailer right now, I got last week, and it was roasted on the 15th. So,
and what's that timeline? Like, when for us novices who drink Keurigs, what's the timeline like? If you had a bag of coffee sitting on your shelf and it's one of these nicely roasted specialty coffees, what's that? What's the date on it? What's the date range?
so most of the time, like a month is usually where it's at. So what I do is I usually order for the month, and by the end of that month, there's honestly sometimes I think the coffee tastes better at the end of that month, just because it's let off a lot of that oxygen, or CO2 or whatever it's letting off.
Coffee juice.
Yeah, coffee air.
That's right.
But so a month is usually where I cut it at. Most of the time I hit that pretty easily. Then it's not really that big a concern. But I have a Guatemala at my house, and then that natural anaerobic at my house that have been sitting there for 2 months because I don't drink coffee that much at home, and I still make pour overs with those, and they are still incredible coffes.
So there's really not a long. I mean, like after 6 monthts, probably get rid of it.
Yeah, it's also a lot about how you store it too.
Yeah.
So I mean, if you're storing an airtight container, it's going to do better. There's also coffee container specifically meant to let the air out, but not let air in. And so it's still an airtight container. So there's a lot of new inventions that are helping store coffee better. Or if you freeze coffee, you can get coffee straight off roast, freeze it, use it straight out of the freezer, and it's basically fresh.
That's cool.
Yeah.
I'd heard freezer is not good.
Yeah. So it's not ideal. Like I wouldn't tell everyone just to freeze their coffee.
Right.
But like that's what I do with all of my decaf. Since I don't sell a ton of decaf, I order a certain amount, freeze it in, specific quantities. Then I'll just take it to the trailer when I need more.
That's good. My wife's a decaf person. So.
It's really good decaf. I serve a single origin decaf that is Swiss water that holds all of the flavors. And
see, I know what Swiss water decaffeinating process is all about. Because a lot of times they use formaldehyde, and that's not good. I'm thinking, right? What did I not ask you that I should have asked you on the podcast? What is something you're like, oh, I wish I could have told you about my gnome collection, or
don't ask me about hobbies. I have like 50 billion of those.
probably not too many with Caroline running around.
I feel like I just get another random one each day. Honestly, I don't
have anything. That's okay. Besides coffee, what gets you fired up? Like you're just like, let's go. Whoa.
NASCAR.
NASCAR. That's right. I forgot. Yes.
I get pretty fired up over NASCAR. Yeah, and I've gotten into every single series down to the Cars Tour.
Oh wow.
I don't constantly watch the Cars Tour. I wish I could, but I just couldn't justify spending the money to watch it all the time. But that was actually why we went to North Wilkesboro. So we went to North Wilkesboro to watch the Cars Tour race.
So Cars Tour, is that like a end of the bush series? Or?
So it is like technically below all of them, still connected to NASCAR.
Okay.
But it is.
I don't know a lot about that.
Yeah. So Kingsport Speedway, how they have their nightly races, the super late models. The very last race of the night, that is the same cars that Cars Tour race, except Cars Tour is like its own kind of entity. So
that's cool.
But they race at like Hickory. They race. Some of these, Florence. They race some of these bigger speedways, but smaller speedways. If that makes any sense. But yeah, so we went down there when they first opened North Wilkesboro back up to the Cars Tour race, and Dale Jr. raced in that. And that's an experience I'll probably never forget. Because,
cool.
It was insane. Like, that's
cool.
Crazy. But yeah, NASCAR gets me pretty fired up.
That's awesome. Are you going to Bristol this thing?
Yeah. I actually think my dad and my older brother will probably come for that too.
That'd be cool.
Me and my dad went in Camp Darlington last year. Went to the Southern 500, did that, which was an awesome experience.
That's awesome.
Yeah, we almost got ran over by a few drivers in the infield, which was just fun.
It could be,
but
unless you really got run over.
Yeah, got to talk to Ryan Blaney, and then he ended up winning the championship.
Oh, that's awesome.
It was pretty cool.
That's super cool. Well, I'm excited to come visit your coffee trailer over by Baker Barber.
Yep.
If our listeners want to connect with you, what's the best way to do that?
Either Instagram or Facebook, probably the best way. At our Instagram profile, we do have a link to like most of our stuff. So there's any link from, buying gift cards to Facebook profile, phone number, email, anything like that.
What's your Instagram handle?
It's just Sweet Caroline's Coffee Co.
Sweet Caroline's Coffee Co.
Somehow no one has ever taken that name. And so I was able to get everything completely across the board, Sweet Caroline's Coffee Co.
Do you have to pay Neil Diamond a royalty on all that?
No.
That's good.
I probably people drive by the trailer all the time, so I'm close to the road and they'll start singing it. It's pretty funny. Yeah. The back of our shirt said coffee never seems so good.
Oh, that's a
good one. So we definitely make a play on it.
I like it.
Yeah.
He might want a royalty off of that. I don't think he's listening.
No, it'd be nice to get that big, but
I
don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'll ever get that far.
Neil, if you want to endorse Sweet Caroline's Coffee Company, that'd be great. They'd love to have that happen. Maybe get a little commercial going with you guys on Instagram. That'd be awesome. That'd be awesome. Well, thank you so much for coming in. Thank you for my awesome latte. I'm looking forward to coming and hanging out and getting to know your trailer in depth, and maybe you'll let me even pour over a coffee or something. Teach me how to do that.
Feel free.
Till next time, guys, I'm Colin Johnson with the Colin and Carly Group. If you want to come meet Ty, you don't live in town, I'd love to introduce you to him. I'd love to help you move here or invest in real estate. We do a lot of that for people. We manage a ton of property with my awesome property manager, Millard. He's great. And so, yeah, we've got a great team. We're just so lucky to be in one of the great places in America. And so, yeah, thank you all for listening to our podcast. Keep listening, keep sharing, keep posting it, spreading it around. Come see Ty, and we'll go get coffee together and have a great day.